What is that? What's a Hangout on Air?
It's a live broadcast that is available anywhere on YouTube, and it's viewed in real time.
Okay, good. So the only slight adjustment I'd make on that is anybody on Google Plus, but it is on YouTube, stored on YouTube. You can get to it from YouTube, but on Google Plus, over here on Hangouts, they have other. I got this out. Where's Steve? Well, I'm not quite sure. Since they just changed this last week, I haven't played around. Maybe it's on the things. But they have a listing of all of Hangouts on Air.
Even Hangouts on Air on the Hangouts tab. Even Hangouts in the drop down.
No, but
that's right. That's not good.
Yeah, okay. So these are other ones that people have. Okay, so this is a great tool for anyone who you go to work. And this should be a thing in your toolbox when you go to work. And training videos, sales videos, things that are you want to remember. So we're doing this because this is an historic day. This is one of those days that in the future you want to look back and say, I wonder how it actually started. Okay, so this is one of those days. So as a thought experiment, what I want you to do I'm waiting for everybody to be paying attention to me. What you want to do is have this down. Or what you want to do as a thought experiment is think about those two videos that we watched this morning. Okay. So what's the takeaway from those? Okay. And what?
We needed to try to incorporate some way of teaching them human values so they don't.
Okay, well, the future's coming, right?
Right.
And it could be bad, right? I think the second talk is it could be bad. If we don't take steps, not we, the people who are creating the systems, if we don't take steps to do something, it's going to be bad. It could be bad in the future. If strong supermassive intelligence occurs, it could be bad for us. All right, so, and employment in the future is going to look a lot different than it does today. Not all, many very reputable studies say that 50% of the jobs that are going to exist 20 years from now do not exist today. Okay, well, what are the jobs going to be that do exist? What would you say, Mike?
I would say construction.
Okay, we're still going to build things? Okay. Nothing more is going to be built?
Not like human, not machine.
Okay. So I thought you were thinking it would be like in the Dark Ages of Earth. And went from marble to mud huts back in Europe. Okay. So I think robots are going to do a lot more, especially with the UCLA announcing this last weekend that they had developed a new type of metal that was much stronger than titanium and lighter than aluminum. And what that means is you'll be able to make buildings that are not made today. Okay, they'll be bigger, stronger, stranger looking, just because the lighter materials, they'll be able to be built with different types of machines, and a lot of things can be done without humans. So so a lot of construction won't exist, but what about craftsman type stuff? What about these?
Well, he did have a graph saying that there'll be an increase in craft service. I wasn't sure the exact term used, but craftsmen, basically, someone creates.
This is the first talk, Jeremy Eller.
Yeah, some of those the blue boxes,
Okay.
and on the right was some graphs.
Yeah, and the map of the world was Africa was not blue, right?
Yes, Africa was great.
And that there were a lot of opportunities for medical people in Africa. There was like a 300-year, at the rate we're training medical people, take 300 years to fill the medical need in Africa. All right, but we're not really going to move to Africa, right? Okay, nobody here wants to move to Africa. Okay, so what are we going to do? What are the jobs going to be like 20 years from now? We already said people are going to be eating still, right?
Customer service.
Food. There's still going to be construction.
Counseling.
Okay, could be a lot of that.
Teaching. Mechanics.
Well, mechanics for like cars.
Mechanics in general, just to you gotta have somebody that's going to be able to repair any technology in the future.
Okay,
What about,
I'm not so sure about that because what's happening with cars today is it's mostly replacement, right?
Correct.
They don't really fix anything.
But you still have to fix the machines that make the cars.
Cars might be
Oh.
cheap to throw them away.
The machines that make the machines. Okay, so there'll be some.
Engineering.
Well, I don't think there's going to be a lot of engineering based upon what he's saying is the machines do in 15 minutes, what takes people years to do. I don't think there's going to be a lot of that.
Public service, public safety.
Firefighters.
All right. Well, I don't know.
Could be RoboCop. Yeah.
I don't know.
what about institutions?
Like what? Prison?
Unfortunately,
Well, that would definitely be robots. People will be going to prison, that's for sure. People will be going to prison, but
Let's see if I don't think so.
Robot CEO.
One pod in New York.
honestly, what could be in 4 years?
well, so he's saying pretty much today, computers can almost read, write, see,
And with the right
listen better than we can today.
and with the right algorithm, probably even learn.
Yeah, but not that.
If you don't think with the right
Well,
algorithm.
but see, here's an interesting thing. I think that the court system, 20 years from now, could do away with juries, could do away with the judge, and have a computer that has an algorithm that knows every single case that's ever happened and just decide what's right.
But there's no wisdom. There's no wisdom in the computer. They can't conceptually consider.
Well, maybe they can't.
A judge should be able to have their hands free.
Okay, but what? Okay, so let's go back to what is the definition of wisdom?
Wisdom is knowing what to make an exception in the world.
Right. Okay, you don't think that can be programmed into a computer? No, I think it can. So we'll find out, but that's a good thing. Because if you know, what was one of the requirements of wisdom?
You have to have had experience.
Experience, exactly. That's a key thing. So if a computer knew every single court case, what's the difference between that and experience that a judge has?
Because you can read a transcript, okay, but you can't hear inflections in someone's voice. You can't see expressions on someone's face.
But people lie, that's the problem.
Well, you can't tell if someone's lying or not based on what they say, but you might be able to do it by body language and things like that that have you pick up visually.
But unfortunately, the typical juror that makes these decisions do not have the ability.
Computers, but robots not computers.
Well, computers can actually read those types of.
But robots.
Well, you're right, because I remember now, there is this TED Talk about when certain things happen in your body, you start sweating.
But you're saying you can go back in history and go through all these cases.
Well, you read all the cases.
You'll read it, but you won't be able to get the sweat.
Well, what do you think a judge does now?
A judge goes based on his experience, his wisdom, and decides. That's a
Well, our court system is based upon precedent, common law.
Okay.
The judge is supposed to follow the law. He's not supposed to create new law. So if you come in and say, here's this case, the Supreme Court ruled this, the judges are not supposed to, a typical judge.
I'm not talking about guilt or innocence. I'm talking about sentencing.
Sentencing, I think, sentencing doesn't work that
What
way.
you did isn't as bad as what he did.
It doesn't work that way. They don't care right now. No, they don't. It's not
All
about
I
that.
hear about is how mandatory sentencing takes away a judge's prerogative and it is constitutional.
So a lot of judges say that, and a lot of judges say, I'm happy with mandatory sentencing.
Makes their life easier.
It's fair, because if you broke the law, you knew what the law was, why should you get different treatment than you that breaks the spirit of the law? Judge doesn't have to do the spirit of the law.
Who does?
Cops are
Oh,
trained to
cop-
do the spirit of the law.
I thought the cops upheld the law and let the jury decide.
When all police officers were trained, they're told there is the spirit of the law and the letter of the law. You cannot always enforce the letter of the law, because all you're going to be doing is arresting everybody you see.
So if you're lucky enough to get arrested by a good cop, you're better off than if you're arrested by a bad cop.
Or it could be a bad cop on a good day.
That's kind of arbitrary, isn't it?
Well, that's how it is. And that's where wisdom comes in. And so, so we'll find out in the future. I think there would be a much better court system if you did away with the people. Thanks. All right, so what else is going to exist in the future? We know people are going to eat.
Teachers.
Well,
We learn about computing now.
I think there will still be teachers, but I think there can be fewer teachers, because the way in elementary school is to get kids on computers right away, let them learn at their own pace. Not have to slow down. Transportation, okay, yeah, well, transportation is going to exist. And if Elon Musk gets his loop, what's it called? Something loop. High-speed train. According to Nolan Bushnell, people are going to be commuting to work from Montana, because the train will go.
Is that the hyper one that they're trying to
I
do?
think it's called that.
Yeah,
Hyperloop.
hyperloop, that's it.
He's not that rich.
No, well, it comes from where all of the money comes
It's
from.
supposed
It
to be
comes from
like
tax
15 minutes from here to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
We
Underneath
can't
the
get an
mountain.
Amtrak service.
So the idea is it's basically a vacuum tube
Right.
with a magnetic train that is battery operated, and you spend half the way accelerating, so you're using fuel, and the other half you're decelerating and you're recharging the batteries. And if you go at 1G acceleration and then you slow down back down to 0, it takes almost no time to get from here to LA.
What about magnets?
Well, the magnets are the levitation, okay, but that's not the so that people will be able to commute anywhere. And when cars who can drive better than people, because they're doing 50 or 100 calculations a second, all of a sudden everything changes. Okay, so what else is going to exist in the future?
Hackers.
Exactly. That's exactly what my point.
Okay, well, who's going to do the hacking? According to Nick Bostrom.
They couldn't catch anything.
No, the computers.
They'll hack themselves.
Yeah. Right, because they're the ones that'll be able to find bugs. Remember we talked about that? There's always bugs in every code, and supermassive intelligence will be much better at finding bugs in code than
What good are we to computers at all if this all comes to pass? I mean, it's all a moot point if this comes to pass.
well, I think he said if you don't have the proper, strong supermassive intelligence, then it's going to be bad. And some people like Elon Musk and Stephen Hawking have said, do not open the Pandora's box of artificial intelligence because we are not capable of controlling it. But it comes down to if you have controls in place, according to Nick Bostrom.
But he also said the computers can work together to overcome those controls.
Yeah, but what he said is if we spend the time to build the controls first, we have a chance. If we build it first and then want to do the controls, it probably is going to be too late. So,
I mean, I don't think they could think of every single outcome though. Because if that was the case, because if they don't, then the AIs they create that can hack will hack what protocols they put.
but here would be the fundamental thing. If all computers, all supermassive intelligence agreed to the premise, human life is important, you can't do anything to destroy human life. and that we need to do things to make human life better, then we don't have to worry about them wiping us out, right? We don't have to worry about a Terminator situation if they believe it. His point was, if they don't believe that, and they're trying to solve some problem, they might see humans as interfering with their solution to the problem, and thus the solution is get rid of all humans, which is basically
Or
what happened.
reverse, they'll never find the solution because they can't hurt humans.
Then, so the program would say, if the prime directive is you can't do harm to humans. If that means you can't solve the problem, then you can't solve the problem because the prime directive is this. Okay, so the future is going to be a lot different. Hopefully everybody got from those 2 TED Talks, the future is absolutely going to be different, and it's really actually different today than we know. Because you don't see headlines about computers can now see better, hear better, just how sophisticated they are. And that one example about at the seminar in China where people were clapping, what was going on there?
The computer was translating in real time the speech of it.
In his voice.
In his voice with his inflection. Yeah.
Oh, that was his voice speaking Chinese?
Yes. So before that, he said, I spent about an hour
I didn't know that.
talking into the Chinese things into the
He
computers.
doesn't speak Chinese.
Correct. So he would say words. Chris is causing
Oh my.
Hello? Yes. Hello? Yes. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello? Okay. Let's see. Okay, so the future is going to be a lot different. Nobody really knows what the future is. What is the Heidegger? No, not Heidegger. The uncertainty principle.
That's Heisenberg says.
Heisenberg. Yeah.
Any object being observed changes based on the fact that it's being observed. So,
Right. So do you think that applies to the future? Projections of the future.
No projection of the future can be accurate. By thinking about something that could happen in the future, you influence the future itself.
Right. Okay.
What are you trying to say?
Yeah. So, so nobody really knows what the future is going to be like, because the more we think about the future and plan for the future, the more the future is going to change. But there's some things that we can know for sure. Like, for example, self-driving cars are coming. What the laws are going to be regarding self-driving cars, when the state of Nevada is going to implement them, if California is going to change the thing, we don't really know, but we do know that self-driving cars can do the job. So we don't really know what the future is going to be like, exactly going to be like. But we can say things like people are still going to eat, right? Nobody disagrees with that. We might disagree whether there's going to be court systems that are going to have a computer as the judge, or whether we're going to keep doing it the way we do, right? We don't know about that. We won't know. We can't know until the future, and it could change. But what we're going to do here is we're going to have a project. We're going to create a project called Into the Future 2036. And we're going to create a magazine that is going to be like Xiaotuti, but it's going to be a magazine for what life is going to be like in the future. And it's going to be owned by the students of Larson. So the project will continue, but as people will come and go, it'll be something that I think will help tremendously in terms of getting employment. And because it's going to be based upon using the Google Cloud apps, everybody will be very proficient in doing it. It's just like with this magazine right here, we went from no magazine, this went from nothing, to the only monthly Italian-American magazine in this country in a matter of like 4 months. And it did it because it started out based upon the cloud. or all other magazines are based upon paper and legacy systems, and you have to do this is how they have to be done. This magazine was not constrained by this is how everybody works. And it just so happens if you can publish one magazine, publishing a second magazine is a lot easier. And the cost to do two magazines, the printing cost is marginally more expensive. So for example, if we wanted to print one of these on the press that prints these, or 5,000, the difference in price is only about $1,000. So to print 5,000 of these costs about $5,000, just as a rough number. To print 12,000 of these costs $6,000. Why?
There's an economics term for that. I can't remember.
Well, the marginal cost of things is true, but what it's really is, the cost of printing magazines isn't the paper, it's not the ink. The cost is getting the big roll of paper onto this huge printing press that's a block long, getting it set up to print the pages on their side, because this is printed 8 pages on a piece of paper. I mean, the paper is a big roll, but when they first cut it, it's 8 pages, 4 on the front, 4 on the back. It comes off this machine, it's cut like that and folded, and then they put it in another cutting machine. When that cuts it, the pages are all in order. And so this is a 48-page magazine, so there's 6 pieces of paper that create that magazine. They're folded, cut, stapled, and so the cost in printing magazines is getting the machine set up, getting the plates on there, getting the ink, then when it comes off the line, cutting it to the size that it is, stapling it, putting it in the boxes, etc. To the part that the humans are involved in. The pushing the button that says start stapling costs almost nothing to staple 5,000 magazines versus 12,000 magazines. Now, for this project, if the magazine is the same paper, same size, everything is the same except for the plates, except for what's on the pages, the cost is a lot less, because all they have to do after you run the first 12,000, okay, hold on a second, let's change the plates. Let's change these 6 plates. Okay, turn the machine back on. Then when they come off, it's not cut 12, okay, stop, now cut the next group. It's staple all of them, cut all of them, staple all of them, put them in boxes. When you get the first 12,000 boxes done, start putting this other label on the second 12,000 boxes so that people know what's what. Put them on the same truck to come to the same place to drop them off at the same place. So the marginal cost is very low. But in talking to the experts and advisors of our school, it seems that everybody should be interested in what's life going to be like 20 years from now. Now, who shouldn't be interested in that?
People that are dead.
Correct. Exactly. If you're going to die in the next couple of years, you don't really care about that.
Right.
Unless you have kids that you care about. Right? So the idea is what we're going to do is create a magazine, a monthly magazine. We're going to do everything for the monthly magazine. We're going to sell advertising for the monthly magazine. We're going to get subscribers for the magazine. We're going to get distributors for the magazine. We're going to create stories for the magazine. And we're going to do that whole thing. And the students of the school will benefit, especially the people who sold advertising or subscriptions. Because once you sell an ad, as long as they pay, you get paid. It's called like a residual income, or it's an annuity type of thing. And that really helps when you go to work and somebody says, why should I hire you? What's the first best answer, Mike?
Why should I hire you? Because I can save you money, make you money.
Close. Marty?
Make more money than anybody.
Correct, because I can make you more money than anyone else applying for this. You have to stress that part. Okay? And, well, how? Why? Why should I believe you? You can say, well, this magazine I was involved in creating. Here's my name. see my name in here. Here's what I did. And I sold X number of dollars worth of advertising, and I get a check every month for this amount of money. I bet nobody else that's applying for the job can say that. That's going to have a lot of value. For people here in the veteran program, with 900 employees, but not all might really want to have, hey, you might say, you know what, now we have an opportunity to really have good communications with our people. And instead of just having food courts here, we could have food courts in other places in the country because we know how to manage our people, because we can do things with them. So it's not just, so that means it's not just a print magazine, but you have to have everything that goes with it. You have to have what? What goes with a print magazine in terms of communication?
We have to have readers.
No, but what is the way of transmitting information? One is print.
Electronically.
Okay, so like via what?
Via the cloud.
Okay, onto what? What platform?
You could put everything on a doc platform on your Word.
How are people going to find it?
Okay, you could put it on a blog. I mean,
Okay, blog. What else? Website. Calendar will be on the website. How about social media? Facebook,
okay.
Twitter, all of those things. Google Plus,
Mass email.
MassEmail, MailChimp. Okay. So now what I want you to do is go to your Drive. So let's see, Craig, do you know how to get to the Drive?
I'm on my Google Drive.
How did you get there?
I had it already up on the top of my Drive.
Okay. How about you, Mark? How do you get to the Google Drive?
9 square.
9 square grid, right? Okay, that's the best one. And again, there are many ways to get to Google Drive. I know that. I'm looking for the best way. 9 square grid. Now, what happens if the 9 square grid's not there? Then what would you do?
Well, I have a shortcut to the cloud here on my extensions.
Okay, so we'll search it. If you don't have the 9 square grid, the second best way to do it is the shortcuts for Google extension. But you want to make it automatic. Whatever you do, you don't want to have to think about how do I get to the 9 square grid? Should I do this or should I do that? You just want it to be a non-thinking reaction. Okay, now, in the one LTC LV folder, which everybody should have, right? We went through this yesterday when the guy was here. Inside of there is another folder. Does anybody see a new folder? So if you double click on one LTC LV,
Larson's newsletter. 2016. It's like top of the
right? Who said that?
Who's in line?
Okay, there should be a folder called 2016 projects.
Okay, so the one's going on top.
Well, I think it's actually alphabetical. Because it's
True,
numbered.
it's not a letter.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, who does not see the 2016 folder? Okay, so Marty, oh, Larry, see if the folder is there.
I just changed it to go off of last month. There you go. So, we won't go through
Now, why did you not see it, Larry?
I had to scroll up.
Okay, now what about you, Craig?
I got here's a magazine.
Okay, so does anybody not have it?
The magazine?
The 2016 projects.
The folder, yes, we have.
Okay, does anybody not have the folder? Good. So who does have the folder? Because this is how I cross-check, because some people don't raise their hands. They don't check the box. Okay, Deanna, do you have it? Okay, all right. Okay, good. Yeah, because I show everybody's on here. All right, now, does everybody have in that folder another folder telephone program.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So there should be 2 folders in that 2016 project folder.
Yes.
So what I have done is the LTC LV folder is shared with all students who graduated or completed school year. So one of the things is when you leave, we don't lock you out unless you get dropped or you quit or you do something bad. Otherwise, you have access to this library forever. You can go back and see all of the files that we have here because they're valuable and you'll need them at some point. But this folder, the 2016 projects folder, is only people who are here now and certain key people from the past. So everybody doesn't get to see this, only some people. So that's a benefit. So when you go to work, when you have a drive, you can share it with some people at work, or different people at work, or no people at work. Okay? So Google has complete flexibility. So open up the folder that says telephone projects. What's in there?
A copy of the phone program and the phone program.
Does it look like this?
It looks exactly like that, except for I don't have a Word document. That's all.
Okay.
Telephone programs.
Yeah, okay. Because if you don't have that, that means I didn't share it with you because I need to keep a copy
Without people messing with it.
Yeah, so in case somebody accidentally deletes it, or moves it, it's still there, all right? Now, okay, now let's open up the I2TF. What does that stand for?
What?
I2TF.
Into the future?
Exactly,
Ah.
into the future. So the website that we have reserved is i2tf.com. Okay. And the magazine name, so let's open this document. How do we do that? Right.
Click on it.
On that.
Michael grandson. Hey, Michael. Oh, we just came up there.
Sweet, I'm gonna start adding you guys.
Hey, Jesus just came up.
Oh. I don't know where you are.
Why is it?
Okay, so what is this called in Google? What do they call that? Where everybody's able to be on the dock at the same time. Collaboration, right? Yep.
It should be my
What?
my LTC folder.
What in your LTC folder?
Isn't that document supposed to be in there?
No, what's in there is a folder called 2016 projects.
Is it share with me?
There's a folder 1 LTC LB. Inside of that folder is a folder called 2. Didn't we already go through this and say, does anybody not have this folder?
Who's ever I have it?
Oh, he stepped outside while you were asking him.
Okay, so that's another reason you should not leave. Okay. How many people are on it now? But you should see everybody's name across the top.
Across the top, we've got pretty much everybody, and 15 people. I see Craig, I see Mark, I see, I see Mike, France, I see Leo, I see Deanna, I see Jesus, I see Marty.
Okay, all right. So I can't open it right now.
Why can't you?
Well, it might have to do with the fact that we're doing a hangout on here. That sounds right. Trying to make it now. Okay, well, anyway, what we want to do is figure out who wants to do what on this project. So get your books out, and what I want to put on, I want everybody to have it start on a clean page, unless you already have this, is that the 4 functions that all businesses have. I want you to draw a big X on the page. All businesses have 4 fundamental basic departments. Okay, so one department, let's start this one, admin.
Customer service.
Okay. So Ed, you need to just get up to where we are now. Don't worry about that because you just keep following further. Okay, the second department is called finance. Third is called operations. And the last one is sales, marketing. Okay. Other people might have other things than this, but this is the simple fundamental thing that if you understand this, then you can do other things that are more complicated. These are the 4 functions that all businesses have. So let's just focus on the magazine.
What's the last one?
Sales and marketing. Well, we're going to focus on the magazine, but this category here, we're not going to be concerned about finance. My undergraduate degree is in finance. Finance is not accounting. It has nothing to do with accounting. Finance has to do with what is money, where do we get it, what do we do with it. Accounting is we have money, and was it an asset, liability, a credit, debit? Is, how do we keep track? How do we account for the money that we have? Finance is not that. For the magazine, we're not doing finance. Okay, that's my job. That's my job. Okay, but I just want to put it on here that all businesses have this, and what you should put in this here, if you should write anything, just write down what is money. So when I started day 1 of my first finance class in Santa Clara, the first question my professor said is, this is about what is money. Finance is about, this class is about what is money. Now, what is the basic answer to that? That Forrest Gump probably would have said.
Box of chocolates.
No.
Something you can spend.
Something that has value.
No. He would answer the question when they said, are you stupid?
Stupid and stupid does.
Okay, money is what money does. That's the answer.
Money is what money does.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is money?
Money is what money does.
What does money do?
It buys things. You're able to get things that you wanted.
Form of tenant.
Or service. Okay. So that's all you should have in this box called finance. What is money? Money is what money does. And that's the thing to think about and talk about when you're having drinks in the bar. About the 4th beer, you'll start getting it. All right? Okay. So now in terms of our magazine, what is operations?
How the magazine was actually created.
Yeah, it's the magazine. It's the articles that go into it, right? It's the artwork. It's the printing. It's the distribution. It's all of that stuff that makes this business a magazine business, as opposed to a dry cleaning business. But there's other things that are the same between magazine business and a dry cleaning business. Like what?
Who keeps track of the workers?
Okay, so it's called HR, right? HR is an admin. Licensing, property, plant, and equipment. Okay, all businesses deal with this. That's an administrative function. Insurance, accounting, IT, professional. So there's a lot in admin. If you come here and you want to focus on admin, because we teach people the jobs people need in admin, accounting, customer service, sales and marketing. Those 4 things. That's what we teach here. So we teach admin, accounting, customer service, which kind of, depending upon who you are, GE, General Electric, considers customer service over here. We're going to put it over here for the magazine. Why? What do you normally think of, Marty, in terms of customer service? What do you think that means? How does it display itself? How do people experience customer service? When?
We buy information about the product.
When do people experience customer service?
Direct interaction.
When there's a problem. Okay. Many people put customer service over here or over here. At GE, they say no, it's here. Why? Why should I put?
Opportunity to make a sale.
Exactly. Because GE says you solve that guy's problem. Now you have the opportunity to sell him something new. Some people think that waiters are in customer service. Well,
Type of waiter. There's good waiters, bad waiters.
well, so the waiter who thinks that they're an order taker.
Yeah, they're not good waiters. They're not.
Yeah, but most people. Okay, most people, most restaurants don't teach salespeople to cut waiters to be salespeople. They teach them to be customer service. If you're a good salesperson, good salespeople distinguish salespeople from order takers by saying what?
Well, trying to upsell them, trying to get them to buy a product they didn't
Okay,
get.
so salespeople say sales starts when the person says no. Now you're selling. Otherwise, you're just taking an order. That person sold himself. You're not selling him anything. You're showing him something and they're saying, what would you like? Real salespeople say sales starts after the prospect says no. So now you've got to get them to do what you want. Okay, it looks like you guys are doing something.
They are. No, I'll straight up call you guys like, grow up, dude. You know we can all see what you guys are typing across the screen, right?
I didn't know typing.
And it tells me exactly who's
It
typing.
says who's doing it. So, okay. So sales starts, for our purposes, sales starts when the person says no. Otherwise, you're only taking orders. You're just an order taker. Our purposes, customer services, and sales and marketing. Okay, so for our magazine, what do we need to do?
Well, we have to create it first.
Well, so before we can create it, what do we need to do?
Staff.
We have staff.
Oh, we
Okay,
said
good.
put staff in the positions.
Okay,
Assign it.
okay. So we'll do a thought experiment. What is a paper knife?
Something like us to paper.
This is an existential.
Piece of paper that got something else.
Okay. What's a paper knife? It's not a trick question. It's a knife made out of paper. That's what I thought.
Okay.
See, okay, that's what a paper knife is. So in existentialism, it starts with a paper knife. Imagine a paper knife. Okay. Does that paper knife exist?
In my mind.
In the beginning. Okay. So what they say is essence on a paper knife, essence precedes existence. First, you have to imagine the paper knife, and then you make it.
And if I burn it, is it still paper knife? After we burn it, is
No,
it still paper
it's not. It's only a paper knife when it's paper. So the same thing applies here. The same thing applies here. We have to, the essence precedes existence. We have to figure out what do we want this magazine to be? Well, we know we want it to be into the future 2036. And next year, what's it going to be?
2037.
Exactly, Into the Future 2037. So the official name of the magazine is Into the Future, and then just the additional part, where like people will put on the month, May, February. It'll be the year. But what should be consistent is the sections in there. So we've got to decide, and what I want people to do is now make a copy of that document. How do we do that? How do we make a copy?
Right click, make copy.
Okay,
You go to the link.
that's the easiest way. Right click, make a copy.
You see it?
Okay, but what we want to be on is not the copy. The copy is just for your records. What we want to be on is the original. And so now for the next minute, and not just the next minute, but for once we hit after lunch, what we want to do is add the sections that we really want. Or you can comment on what other people are doing. How do we do that? How do we comment on what people are doing? Exactly. Okay, again, Google is designed for people about a 4th grade level. So if you don't know what's going on, don't think, oh, this is hard, it's too complex. Just say, I just got to find it because it really isn't hard. So the assignment for later is to take this document and flesh it out, because this is the thing we're going to do. We're going to make a magazine. And the deadline is, what's the deadline for Chowchuti?
For January,
Yeah. Let's go to the calendar.
on the 14th or the 15th. Somewhere around there. But I haven't looked at the exact date.
Okay, so we need the magazine to be delivered by the first Wednesday in February. So that's the 4th. Which means we need to mail them by the 29th.
Of January.
So February is
Yes, you need to mail them by the 29th of January. Which means,
how long does it take to print?
okay, which means we're not going to do a February issue. We're going to do a March issue.
February's
Because Chowchuti is laid out on the 17th, and we can't do 2 magazines. So that means this magazine has to be done this week, which week ending the 9th, which we can't do. So we're going to have a month. But what we will be able to do with this magazine, I can promise you, is people who are professors and people that are involved doing TED Talks about what computers are going to be like in the future. If we send them an email saying, here's what we're doing this magazine, I'd like to reprint something, you got something I can use, guess what they're going to do? What are they going to do?
Send it to you.
Yeah, they're going to say, great. So we're not going to have a problem getting content. That's going to be the easy part. What we have to do is figure out the content that is most compelling to get advertisers and subscribers. Now, in your book, on this page, there's 3 fundamental things that motivate people. What are those? People are motivated by 3 fundamental things.
Compensation,
Okay.
security,
Well,
happiness.
greed. The best way to motivate people is through greed. So money is a subset of greed, right? Okay, greed. What's another one? Fear. And there's one more thing that happened to work in China. Hope. Okay, in China in the 80s, they said there's one thing you can always sell the Chinese, hope. for a better future. And guess what happened? It worked, right? So greed, fear, hope. We want people to advertise in this magazine because of these reasons: greed, fear, and hope. Fundamental message has to be to appeal to different people. Some people appeal to greed. If you do this, it's going to be really good for you. You're going to be better than anyone else. Fear. If you don't do this, you're screwed, right? Okay, hope. Do you want to have a better life? Then you need to do this.
Okay.
Okay? That's the fundamental message. Now, some people will appeal to greed, appeal to those people. If you know, if people are motivated by material things, it's either greed, get more, or fear, you're going to lose what you have. People who don't have something, it's not really greed or fear because they don't have anything. It's mainly hope. So if we're dealing with people that are in prison that want to have a better life, they don't want to go back to prison, or they live at Catholic charities, hope is the big thing. Greed doesn't going to work with charity.
Yeah, but hope is like the mall staff running with monks.
Well, they don't have hope. It doesn't work for them.
Well, but they don't have any purchasing power either, so why are we selling to them?
We wouldn't be selling to them.
Okay.
So you have to figure out the sales message is based upon the target customer. Will they appeal? Is this, or this better? As a blanket category. And knowing that some people are different than others. But I'm pretty sure there's some Buddhist monks who are greedy. They want to live in a
So
monastery.
we're looking for advertisers who have those three different.
Well, no, they do. But when we get to the sales message, of what we're going to say to them is greed, fear, and hope that people are going to respond to. In other words, to your point regarding the Buddhist monks, we're not going to try to get Buddhist monks to advertise in this magazine.
But public service companies get to advertise for the message. I got
Okay.
public dollars.
Okay.
Yeah.
We might get North County or North Las Vegas, city of North Las Vegas, to become an advertiser in here to give readers who live here hope or fear. Hey, if you don't know what's going to come in the future, you're fucked. Okay, that could, I don't know that the city of North Las Vegas would agree with us in that language, but
I don't know. North Las
that's probably what it takes. As my grandfather said, when people said, why do you sometimes swear? He said, well, if you want to communicate with a jackass, you have to speak his language. True. Right? So, okay, so we're going to wrap it up, but what we're going to do for today, and now every other day in the afternoon that we don't have something going, we're going to do this, because this is going to be the best thing for everybody here and for the school. On a personal level, the better prepared you are for the future, the better you're going to do in the future, barring, unforeseen luck or bad luck. When you're in an interview, if you can communicate stuff that has to do with their future, good for you. So on a personal level, I think this is going to be very good to focus on what is the future, be able to articulate it, and this is an opportunity to get in the magazine and make some money.
Are we going to be writing the articles ourselves?
Hopefully not. Now, people will have the opportunity, but I believe we come up with the categories. So I have some examples. Transportation. Transportation could be cars, trains, airplanes. The idea is what airplanes going to be like 20 years from now? What are cars going to be like? What's train? What are boats?
of articles about stuff like
Right. So what we want to do is find an article. It doesn't have to be the best one. Contact the writer. Say, can we reprint this, or do you got an update?
Okay, so we're looking for rights, basically. Publishing rights.
Yeah. Right to reprint. So we got to figure out the categories, and the categories are going to be what are subscribers and advertisers going to be interested in. It's going to be hard to get advertisers if we say people reading this are going to be Buddhist monks, right? Because they're going to say, well, no Buddhist monk is going to buy anything from me. If there's Uber could be a perfect advertiser. Lyft could be perfect advertisers because they're a futuristic thing today. And they might say that, you know, we want to get people to view us as this is the future of transportation. It always is, will be here 20 years from now.
Another big thing right now is sustainable agriculture.
Okay, sustainable agriculture. So one of the things a lot of people are doing is saying, let's take these warehouses, these abandoned warehouses in these cities and turn them into farmland, you know, vertical farming. Or just in cities, in Carlsbad, sustainable agriculture. So what we need to focus on is what are the topics that we want to have. We don't want to get crazy. So write this number down in your book. A 48-page magazine should have 24 pages of ads.
48-page magazine, what?
24 pages of ads.
Okay. 24 to 48, so.
Yeah. Now, of the other 24 pages, minus 1 page for the cover. So we need 23 pages of content. And then you should become familiar with Chowtuti because you have a page that is your table of contents page.
So down to 22.
And then you have a page that is about subscription.
Down to 21.
Okay. Then you have this page of who the people are, which could be in this one, the subscription information and who's involved in the paper, magazine. We put that on one page. I think for our purposes, we want to commit one whole page to why you should subscribe. So now we're down to how many? Okay, we're down to 20 pages. Now the next thing is in a magazine this size, write this down. 1 page of print copy is 900 words without photos. So what we say to people is write 900 words, subtract 50 words per photo.
1 page print copy. So 1 page.
900 words. So when we're looking for stories, so how many stories do we need?
Well, we need 20 stories.
20 stories right now, if they're all 1 page.
Can we put more than 1 story on a page?
Yeah, you can.
Can we let 1 story last 3 pages?
Yes. Okay.
We don't know how many stories we need.
But the starting point is it's 900 words per page, minus 50 words per picture. The more pictures, the better. We don't really do a good job in this magazine with pictures. We should be doing a better job with pictures. If you go to the Chowtuti magazine website, that's almost all pictures.
But the pictures are also going to be a licensing issue too, right?
Not necessarily.
If we do an open search and Google Images, it'll be fine.
So
There's 2 different types of searches for images.
okay, so let's give me a topic of the Google search. That's the first thing, transportation.
It's actually under the filters.
Okay. So we go to images, right?
There it is, filter.
So here, under search tools, right? Usage rights, okay? Not filtered by license, label, usage modification, label for reuse. So what we do for the magazine is we'll go labeled for reuse.
Right.
And then we'll go over here to size and say larger than 2 megabytes. Okay.
So those are
Megabytes.
3 things.
Okay. Okay. So these we can all use.
Okay.
Now, what our web guide does, there's a page called something, or a website called something like $1 pictures or something. Okay. Subscribe to that, and they charge $1 for every picture, and they guarantee, well, I don't think they guarantee, but they claim all of these pictures are reusable.
What about Getty Images?
No, those are stay away from because they go after what images. Getty, Italian American Club has a thing from Getty where they used a picture of Santa on a slide.
What about blacks?
No, there's no blacks. Blacks are not allowed.
Yeah.
Huh?
Now
No, we don't have black members in the club. The bylaws say no black people. I didn't write. I'm just kidding. No black people want to join the club. Okay, great time. Oops, that was on tape. Thanks, Theo.
Thanks, Theo.